Hi, I'm doing a lesson on patterns and sorting for a 3-year-old. The child that I studied is a 3-year-old little girl who had just started preschool. And although we haven't noticed any cognitive difficulties, she does suffer from separation anxiety, severe. At times, she becomes very violent. In speaking to her parents, it turns out that she has never met her father. She lives with mom, who works 2 jobs, and a grandmother who is with her for half the year. The other year, she goes back to Mexico. Both mom and grandma are bilingual, but my little girl, Gabriella, is not. She speaks English only. And when she first came to the class, it was very difficult for her. She began having physical symptoms of anxiety, stomach aches, headaches, and as the days went on, she started missing school. She would even hit out at the teachers. I myself have been slapped across the face in her just complete panic. So we put a lot of things in place to help her. One of the things that we put in place was homemade Play-Doh and colored pasta and rice. And we, in using those tools, I developed a math and science lesson on pattern and sorting. So right now, according to our textbook, cognitively, children between the ages of 3 and 4 should be learning their colors. They should be able to characterize based on colors and concrete shapes, and they have begun to pattern. So what I did was I begin my lesson by having a whole group discussion, and I have children stand up who or raise their hand depending on the physical capabilities of the class, based on one attribute. Maybe everyone wearing red shirts or everyone wearing glasses or whatever it happens to be. And we discuss a little bit about why I might have called those children. What do I see that's similar? What's different? Once we establish how to categorize and to group and sort, we then make centers. And I have 3 different centers that I'm going to explain to you, and I have some materials that I can show you. The first one is the sorting center, and I have made colored pasta. I chose bow ties, and for this I only used one shape, which is the bow tie pasta, but you can use rigatoni. My suggestion, especially for the younger kids, is to get the bigger pasta. So I've colored them red and blue, and it's very easy to dye using hand sanitizer or vinegar and food coloring. And so I have different ways of sorting. If you just want to sort based on 2 colors or 2 attributes, whether it's squares and circles, red and blue, whatever your criteria is for categorizing, you can use a sorting mat that is into 2 different areas. And you could find these all online. There are many. I've looked on Pinterest. Most of them are free. Also, at my local Dollar Tree, I have collected muffin tins, and you can either start out for the child by modeling how to put the colors in, or you can cut out just a colored circle on the bottom of each one to help them sort. And you really want to talk to the kids. You don't want to pretty much tell them, all right, we're going to sort by red and blue. You really want to do a lot of open-ended discussion as to what do they notice that's different. If I had used different types of pasta, I could maybe use different shapes, and we can talk about maybe sorting them by color, maybe sorting them by shape, maybe sorting them by size, large pasta, small pasta. And my suggestion is to really allow the child to come up with the rule. It's more self-directed, and it gives them, just by asking them those open-ended questions, it lets them decide what they are going to categorize them as. And most things can be categorized in many different ways. So that's one center. It's the sorting center, and you can, as you can see, use a lot of different things for it. Another activity is patterning, and at this age, 3s and 4s are beginning to learn how to pattern. They start out with a simple pattern, and then by the end of that first year of preschool, they're able to come up with their own patterns. And so I found online, and I did include the link in my lesson plan, patterning strips. And you can use Legos, you can use Unifix cubes, you can use, again, pasta, to have them start following the pattern as you've created. And then eventually, as they master that skill, they should be able to make their own pattern. Again, it's being able to ask them those open-ended questions at the centers. What is the rule for your pattern? So this is a typical AB pattern. It's red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, or whatever color it is. But you want really them to start creating their own rules. So when they make their own pattern, what made you do that? What do you notice about that pattern? And there should be a rule. So again, it's asking those higher order thinking questions, not just simply telling them you need to do AB pattern or AABB. Let them decide. The assessments that I use are mostly observational and written anecdotes based on their answers to questions. And through my research, most of the time, the best observation is just authentic observation while they're doing the work that they're doing. You should be writing things down, which is what I did, and taking photographs of them actually as they are doing their activity. And finally, some accommodations that I made for some of the children with cognitive disabilities. Extended time at certain centers. In our room, we are very organized. We have a structure, and the children feel very comfortable with that, especially children who have trouble focusing. They really need that time made concrete. Which is what the text tells us. And so there is always a timer, and the kids know exactly where the timer is in the room. So they know to look over and see when is this activity going to be over. So for certain children, we gave extended time if they could not complete it in the time period we gave them. A lot of modeling, a lot of displaying, sitting with them at the center and just being able to model exactly how to do it. Sometimes for children who were really mastering the skill or for children who needed a little extra help on fine motor skills, we added tongs, the beginning tweezers, and they picked up the pasta with the tweezers to sort them. So that's another accommodation for children who are either mastering it or who just need a little bit of fine motor skills. For children who are dual language, we had directions also in Spanish because the other children in the class, we have English speakers and we have Spanish speakers. Some of the children we had partnered up. So we had children with a disability partnered up with a child who was developing at a normal, natural speed. And we paired them up, and that really worked because they really did help each other during the assessment. And finally, we also read the patterns orally to the children. So if they had a visual processing problem, we would actually read out red, blue, rather than having them have to transfer from the sheet to the physical activity. So I learned a lot through this, and it was wonderful working with the student I did, and she is doing much better. So thank you. I hope that something that in my lesson plan helps you as well. Bye.